Right, so I'm going to give carrots in containers a go. Haven't tried this before, to be honest with you. Got these cheap plastic tubs from Sainsbury's. Had some drainage holes in them, but they were still a bit blocked up, so I've punched them out with a pair of scissors. Need good drainage, particularly for growing carrots. I'm going to try this one. This is a kind of rounded, like a kind of ball carrot. It says perfect for containers, we'll find out. We've also got a couple of other varieties, a couple of old sort of French varieties. We'll give them a go, see what happens. So, not particular rocket science here, it's very unscientific. One of my old terracotta pots just broke up, so these are perfect for just covering up those drainage holes so they don't get blocked. So we'll put a layer of them around drainage holes in here. And this one. This just stops the compost blocking the holes and becoming waterlogged. If you're doing container gardening, it's a good idea to put some stones or put some broken up pot in. Good use for all the stones that you take out your veggie patch. As you're going, keep them to one side and they don't go to waste. Okay, so I recommend probably 1 part, or say 1/3 sort of sharp sand or horticultural sand if you can get it. Horticultural sand's quite expensive. A lot of folk just use ordinary builder's sharp sand. There's some debate about how much salt is in that, but if you're worried you could wash the salt out yourself, or just leave your bag sitting open to the elements and it'll do that job for you. I haven't tried this before, so I've got a bag of some sort of sand here. I'm just going to mix a good couple of shovelfuls in that. Sand improves drainage. If you've got really clay soil, adding a lot of good bit of sand and some organic matter to that's really going to help. But yeah, for these I'm going to chuck in some remnants of a burst bag of tomato compost, some seed compost. Also got some organic chicken manure pellets, selling them in Sainsbury's for about, I think it was £4 a box at the moment. So I'll chuck that in as a kind of slow release fertiliser as well. Yeah, we'll mix it all up, see what happens. fine tilth, as they call it. It just means like a really nice crumbly texture, preferably a good depth of that. As carrots grow, if the root hits a rock, it splits and it forks. So that's when you see these funny carrots that have got like 5 kind of carrots attached to like a fat stub at the top. These are ones that have hit a rock and split. So growing carrots, you want to make sure there's no big lumps in your container. So these ones, the ones that are round fat balls, will probably be a bit more forgiving because they're not going to go down so deep. The ones that are going to grow longer are going to need that depth. Hence these pots I've gone for quite deep pots just to give us that depth. So see what happens. Okay, so we've got our 2 planters prepared. Got a nice crumbly texture on top. We're going to sow the kind of round ones that are supposed to do well in containers in this one. Carrot seed's very fine, so they always advise sowing it thinly, which just means spreading it out, not too many of them. But we're just going to sprinkle it out a bit. I mean, if you do sow it a bit thickly, it just means too many. It's fine. You can thin as they grow. Pull some when they're small, teeny little baby carrots, and leave space for the other ones to grow bigger. That's fine. It's not an issue. But don't go too crazy. Don't put your whole entire packet in. Carrot seed needs to be kept moist for good germination. It's notoriously fickle for germinating. If it dries out whilst it's waiting to germinate, and it can take a little while, it can be a wee bit, go back and nothing's happened and nothing ever appears. It's likely that either they've dried out and germination hasn't occurred, or they've all germinated and a whole host of slugs have come along and eat them before you even realised. That can happen too. So this is these are 2 old French varieties. So these ones are, I'll do half and half in here. These are longer rooted ones. So these, we'll see how well these do in a container. I don't know, getting them to germinate was the first trick. Another thing you want to think about is protecting them. So a common problem with carrot growing is carrot fly. Now they can decimate your carrot crop, and they have an uncanny ability to smell out carrots from a couple of kilometres away, and will come in, lay their eggs on the soil around your carrots, and as they hatch they will tunnel in. So you'll get these little black kind of manky looking tunnels on the surfaces of your carrots. Not very palatable. Those bits of the carrots there's not really a lot you can do with, so it pretty much ruins your crop. If you're a farmer and you lose a small percentage of your whole field of carrots, it's not the end of the world, but we're growing carrots on a smaller scale here, and that sort of equivalent percentage here is they'll quickly ruin the entire lot. So a way of mitigating that, well, there's a couple of ways. Allegedly carrot flies can't fly above about this sort of, I don't know, I guess maybe 40 inches height or something like that. So if you've got big planters, in theory they shouldn't be able to get up and come and lay their eggs on them. I have heard they can drift down off of trees though. How they get that high up in the tree, I don't know. But the other thing that I always do is cover my carrot seedlings. I mean, it's a good idea anyway, because they need the moisture to germinate. If you can put a bit of fleece over them, it will help preserve the moisture, and as they germinate it will also protect them. And as they get higher, you might move to a bigger bit of fleece. You know, carrots will get up to that kind of height, kind of growth,
so you know, you need to create a structure with that with enough room for them to grow under. A lot of folk will switch to kind of micro netting. That works really well as well. It's such a small gauge, it's too small for the carrot flies to get through. There's lots of different varieties of carrot. Some allegedly are more resistant to carrot fly than others. It's pretty hard to quantify. In my experience, the best way of repelling them is to cover them, either with a micronet or fleece. So sowed them, so we'll give them a wee dusting of compost and a good water and cover them off. And then label them. Give them a wee firm down. Make sure there's good seed to compost contact. And then give them a water. Carrots like a lot of sun, so I'm going to put them somewhere sunny. We'll come back and check how germination's going, see how long it takes. So it can take a while for carrots to germinate, it can be a couple of weeks, but we'll see.